prerequisite for Clown World 2.0 2023 is every single day there must be a systematic attack on our food infrastructure, whether it's the burning down of processing plants or the destruction of fertilizer plants or the raiding of farmers and the destruction and the dumping of meat, where they take a farmer's meat and throw it in a landfill, right? Because we're green, right?
Yeah.
Because we want everything. We want to save Mother Gaia and all this stuff.
While
right?
food prices are at like an all-time high.
Yes,
Yeah.
as you destroy food, which is supply and demand, it forces prices up. Well, there's a new article out today. Maybe it posted yesterday on Natural News, and this is in Canada. Canadian government forcing dairy farmers to dump milk because regulatory quotas only allow so much to be produced, aka sold. An employee at a major dairy farm in southern Ontario has come forward to tell the public that the regime of Justin Trombone is forcing the company to dump countless gallons of fresh milk once a certain quota is reached. This despite the fact that milk now costs an arm and a leg in Canada due to runaway inflation. In the video below, the man explains how in wintertime there is much more milk to be had from the farm's dairy cows because the feed is very consistent that time of year. One would think this would be great for the market, allowing more milk to be sold, thus lowering the prices for consumers. This is not what is happening, though. Thanks to caps imposed by the Trudeau regime on milk production, dairy farms like the one depicted below are having to dump all that extra milk straight down the drain rather than sell it to hungry families. So we're going to watch this really quick video on site from this dairy farmer in Canada.
Hey guys, we're here at Give and Go's Farm in southern Ontario. We milk about 260 cows. Right now during the winter months, you milk quite a bit more milk because the feed is very consistent. And as you do a good job, you will produce quite a bit of milk. So, but right now we're over our quota. It's regulated by the government and by the DFO. But the problem is what they don't understand is millions of people look at this milk running away because it's the end of the month. So I have to dump 30,000 liters of milk. It breaks my heart. I will show you. By the way, this here, Canadian milk, it's $7 a liter. When I go for my haircut, people say, wow, $7, Jerry, for a little bit of milk. I say, well, you have to go higher up because we have no say anymore as a dairy farmer on our own farm because they make us dump it. And no matter how we stand up, so this time I'm going public. I want the people to see the pain that us growers have of 365 days. As a little boy, we grew up on a dairy farm, came from Europe, work, and here we are. This is what's happening.
That's fascism, y'all.
That's nuts.
And how wasteful and how totalitarian. They're dumping 210,000 liters.
No, $210,000 worth of milk into the trash can.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's $7 a liter, which there's roughly, for you American folk, there's roughly 4 liters in a gallon.
In a gallon, yeah.
So they're paying $7 a liter for milk, y'all.
So for 1/4 of a gallon, $7.
They're just dumping that stuff down the drain rather than injecting it into the market, which would drive the price down. And the other thing it would do, it would allow the dairy farmer to make more.
Way more.
There's no excuse. There's no amount of technocracy, scientism.
Yeah.
This is so insane. This is an attack on people's livelihoods. This is attack on everyone else's ability to provide for themselves. It's artificially...
Yeah. This is why we don't need regulation.
Yeah, it's exactly why we don't need regulation.
Because this junk right here is a prime example.
This is exactly why governments should be so infinitesimally small that you obviously
don't even
don't know that it's there. Because when it gets way too big, they come up with really dumb ideas like this just to penalize everybody. They're penalizing the dairy farmer for actually producing. They're penalizing the consumer for some like arbitrary, technocratic, P-mind data that means absolutely nothing. And this is an attack on our infrastructure. This is why we talk about raising your own food and knowing your farmer. And when we are more decentralized as a food system, what that means is these larger commercial operations are going to have to continue. Well, they're going to be forced to decentralize. They're going to be forced to downsize. And even though, the silver lining in all of this is as the food prices continue to go up, it makes the smaller farmer more profitable so that they can actually turn a profit. Because as we've been homesteading for a while, and raising your own food can be expensive, and technically it should be. I mean, 150 years ago, our cost of food was roughly 80% of our annual income. And now through all this mechanization process and all these seed oils and all of these grain products and all this infusion and high fructose corn syrup and the mass production of everything in China, that's driven all these costs down. So now our food only costs roughly 20%.
Yeah.
And the actual nutritional value is much less than that.
We see it right here in Texas with ranchers, and they have these big ranches, hundreds of acres, hundreds of cattle. And I actually worked for one for about almost a year. And they were talking financial stuff and everything. And they're like, we break even every year. And they're running 300 head, and they're selling them for like $1 a pound to less than $1 a pound. And I'm like, that's insane, because they're selling it for for prime steak in different cuts. I mean, they're selling them for like $12, $13+ for a grass-fed, finished organic steak. Now theirs weren't organic.
That's where they were missing out on the market share. They were doing everything conventionally, spraying everything with Grazon, vaccinating everything, spraying everything.
And the thing is if you would just decentralize and cut out the middleman and just sell direct. First of all, you don't need 300 cows to do that.
You need 100.
Maybe 100 cows, and that's a big time operation if you're selling direct. I mean, you would be cranking in a lot of money. And the same with, the dairy cow operation. There's one right up the road from us, not that far. They got 300 cows. It's a big operation, but they sell direct. And, they have their deal, and they're all inspected or whatever, and they sell raw milk.
And it's all honor system. It's great. You go there.
You walk in. There's a little cash box. You put your cash in it. Nobody's there, and then you just take your milk out and you leave, awesome. And it's awesome. Yeah. So,
but we're just every day, and this is a global phenomenon. This is, and when I say phenomenon, this is intentionally being done.
Correct.
By they,
it's
them,
synthetic.
and those, and the technocrats, and by the people that have no ability to make a decision that would benefit anyone but themselves and their little coven. And this is why we have to take responsibility. We have to take control. When we put out these different videos, like, these people have to be held accountable. Like, anybody that talks about accountability and all that stuff, that's a joke. There's no such thing as accountability. Not in any country. So you just have to take responsibility for yourself. No one's coming to save you, and
no politicians coming to save you.
And the reason that is scary for most people is when you live in a completely synthetic environment and you're in a concrete jungle and you don't have any resources, how are you supposed to do this?
Yeah.
And since our communities have been diminished and families have been dissected and cut up and scattered all across the planet, they're like, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have any infrastructure. I don't have anybody to help me. And this is why we've been talking about family and
Community.
legacy
Yeah.
and community. These are all the reasons why, because these are essential and quintessential. Whether, and especially when people start trying to grow their own food, and our environment is it's a very dramatic environment as far as the temperature change,
hot, cold.
and so
rain, no rain.
When people are new to that, they're just like,
yeah,
oh, I'm going to starve to death. And there's some truth to that,
Very true.
That's where the community comes in and comes together and works together, and you grow what you can.
One person might be great at growing cows. Maybe they have the land to raise cows, but you are stinking amazing at growing potatoes or vegetables in general, or maybe you're the fruit tree guy. It all depends. Or maybe you don't really have much, but you have a good work ethic, and you can go, put in a heck of a fence, So there's all types of stuff that you can do once you get into a community, but you absolutely need other people to survive.
And you need it. There has to be an exchange of value. You
Absolutely.
have to bring something to the table. So many people
come into a community and just take.
They want to take, and it's because they're so used to this socialist system. Like, what are you going to do for me? And I need all this help. And I was thinking that you would just plant all my fruit trees for me.
Now, on the flip side, though, when I help somebody, I am not looking for something in return whatsoever. But there are people that will take advantage of you if you don't realize, like, oh, you're actually trying to take advantage of me by, just me being kind to you. So, you always have to realize that point. And our we trade all the time with all of our neighbors, and first of all, it saves us thousands of dollars on equipment rentals, thousands of dollars, and loads of time. I mean, even this week, our tractor's been down, so I've been actually borrowing my neighbor's tractor. And then my other neighbor, since my tractor's been down, he borrows the brush hog off of my tractor, and we just trade back and forth. And, it's just the bartering system.
Another one of our homestead friends, he's an ASC certified mechanic, and he wanted some honey and coffee, so we needed some help on the F350.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, man, I got some honey and coffee here. So we do the barter deal, and it's it's a community transaction, a parallel transaction. And that's what but if you wait till it all goes wrong to start building this community and building the parallel economy and bartering and transacting in a non-conventional way, you're going to kind of be lost in the weeds. And that's why we keep encouraging people.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like stockpiling stuff and all that. I mean, dude, stockpiling stuff is not going to help you. That is not, the reason we have a food 401k is your quote unquote stockpile is only efficient and effective at the rate that you can replenish it.
Yeah.
And if you're stockpiling from like Costco, Sam's Club, Amazon, and Walmart, the Walmart drone may or may not be dropping the food at your house. I'm just saying. So that's why you have to take all these things into consideration.
Yeah.
But this is just another fascinating attack at our food system. And please be praying for our farmers and to know your farmer.
Absolutely.
And appreciate your farmer. What's been amazing from the Fisher video is some people are so disconnected. Like
it's sad.
Like they make all these derogatory comments. Well, the Amish, they're pacifists. They should like get guns. Like, well, first off, okay, I'm not even going to address that because there's that whole thing. But anyway, or that they've wanted to detach from society, so they're getting what they deserve and all this stuff. And meanwhile, this guy is providing food for his community.
What the heck?
He's not so ostracized from his community that he's selling.
He has
food to
500 plus
So,
customers.
and they're not all Amish, y'all. The newsflash. So there's, that's always kind of the scary part of social media. And I do take it with a grain of salt. These could be bots and signature reduction agents and all that stuff, and feds and all that cool stuff. So, and we do not feed trolls here, nor do we answer bots or feds. So that's just a now you know. So knowing's half the battle.
1 second. There you go. Also, for any for anybody that's still watching at this point. Me and my father do cut each other off at some time. But we just do that.
But we're family. We're related.
Yeah,
we do that.
We're not doing that out of disrespect for one another. You know, we just do it just to keep things interesting. And
feel no need to
keep them moving along.
Explain ourselves, Lucy.
But just wanted to address that real quick.
Got explaining to do. Hey, this is a value for value proposition, and it wouldn't be right unless I cut them off.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to.
If you appreciate
you say it better anyway.
Our content, please go to TheTexasBoys.com. If you're local and looking for beef or pork, hey, hit up our meat shop. Maybe check out our coffee, CBD, lion's mane, various forms and fashions of coffees, teas, unvaccinated honey, or what have you. Maybe an organic candle, y'all. Hey. Whatever tickles your fancy.
Maybe. All right. Love y'all so much. Be praying for these farmers. And we'll see y'all in the next video.
See you. Bye. Bye.